Good. Hello, and first of all, a big thank you to Natasha. Okay. Natasha Draba. What enthusiasm, what insight, what vision for the future. I think we all owe a debt to Natasha and to Marga Vizo and Sylvia for their generous support. I have very little time, so I'm going to try to stick to a script. I don't like reading, but if I talk freely, I'll be here for an hour, so that's not a good idea. This is a story of love, betrayal, debate, accumulated memories, and myths. The site is magical. I do it this way? Yeah. And my title, The Secret Garden, which comes from an English story of 1910 addressed to young girls, which Eileen Gray certainly knew, is revealed by this. This is the entrance to the house, to the E1027. Architects normally have a big sign for the entrance. This is not the case here. The approach down a series of steep terraces, rather a problem for disabled access, leads down mysteriously through a labyrinthine path to a view over the Mediterranean and Monaco at the end there, where Yvonne Gallis, Le Corbusier's wife, was born. On two of these terraces, Eileen Gray bought a site, not for herself, but for her then lover, Jean Badovici, and designed a house with his help for them both. So it was designed as a house for them both to share holiday vacations. She knew the area well, along with many other Anglo-Saxon wealthy people and designers and artists. She knew Saint-Tropez already. She knew a lot of the south of France. But this was a secret place just underneath a railway line, accessible only by that little path that you saw. She designed a house which was being built between 1926 and 1929, which you'd have to say is in a Corbusian mode in a style which he then abandoned himself in 1929. From a Corbusian perspective, from the perspective of the purist architecture of the 1920s, the design could be criticized. The slabs are too thick, the structure is too heavy, you might say, and as Corbusier explicitly said, it fatally reveals its iconography. Modern architecture is not supposed to reveal its sources. So you can be impressed by ocean liners, but you mustn't put a direct symbol of an ocean liner there. This was absolutely not Eileen Gray's background. She was an Art Deco designer who, in all her works, uses symbolism, association, literary, poetic, nationalistic, you could say. And so there are other things that you could criticize about the house. The Supilotti is not particularly well designed. If you imagine a beautiful meal under the pilotti, this isn't sort of ideal in some ways. But on the other hand, the house is full of ingenious solutions. And this, which is obviously derived from naval architecture, from ships, is a resolution of the problem of the south-facing picture window that Le Corbusier had not managed to arrive at by this time. It's a combined virtual fenêtre en longueur and a brise-soleil achieved with the means of a canvas awning. The interior, which was immortalized in a volume of Architecture Vivante, the periodical that Badovici edited in 1929, and you can buy this because it's been reprinted recently, is a combination of interior design and architecture. Le Corbusier said that this house was all based on the house he designed for his mother on Lake Geneva, with its long window looking out over the lake. And there's an element of that in it. But what Eileen Gray has done is to articulate within an open space different functions. A dining area at the end, a place for tea in the sort of the middle area, just where the photograph is taken from, a place for a siesta after the meal, and so forth. And what you're seeing here is a decor which was produced by a film company making a film, The Price of Desire. And we'll come back to that a little bit later. Some of this may have to be destroyed, unfortunately. Then we have to come to a bit of history, because and this is why, you know, our association is iconic houses, but iconic complex sites might be sometimes a better label, and this is the case, because Le Corbusier in 1938 visited the house, I think actually for the first time, with his wife. He didn't see Eileen Gray because Eileen Gray had moved out 5 years before, but he painted 2 murals with Badovisi's strong approval at the time. This one, I think, is the most catastrophically bad one in terms of destroying the sense of space and the design. Notice, incidentally, the corner, which is a typical Eileen Gray design, a place for a sort of siesta, reading, a narrow bed, an installation. That installation we designed, we've made, the Association for the Preservation of the Site. We reconstructed that, basically, from the photographs. This is the other mural that Le Corbusier painted in 1938, which has been completely repainted. It's on a wall that covers the original wall, and it was done on the basis of a transparency. Why some of the lines are not black is a complete mystery, but no doubt that will be eventually changed. In 1939, he came back and he painted 5 more. This was one of them. This, I think, actually happens to be one of the best paintings, one of the better paintings, and it does less damage in the space of the interior. This is the kind of dining area, which is in one end of the salon. This is in the guest bedroom. Le Corbusier said that he'd only painted his murals where there was a dark corner. And this is the entrance, where he actually carefully preserved Eileen Gray's instructions. She wrote little instructions in stencil letters. Entrez lentement, come in quietly. Badovisi was rather a sort of noisy and actually quite often drunken person, and I think that was aimed at him. Then in 1949, the story becomes more complicated again. The house was badly suffered. Eileen Gray's house was badly suffered during the war. But a plumber from Nice, Thomas Rebutato, built a fish restaurant here with a terrace just next to the house. And Le Corbusier painted some more murals for him with Rebutato's blessing. And just through that door there, this is the wonderful view from the terrace. And this is the fish restaurant with Thomas Rebutato's own paintings, vivid vernacular style. And this is their bedroom, where Le Corbusier painted another mural and cut a door through so he could go through to his cabinet on the other side of the door if it rained. So he had a very good relationship with Thomas Rebutato, and this is the famous cabinet. So I have to show you all this when talking about E1027, because they are inextricably linked together. You can't see one without seeing the other, and it's my job and those of the others involved in the Association Cap Moderne to make the whole site visible. There's another piece of history attached to this, because on the rocks below the house, in 1952 to 54, Le Corbusier designed some camping units, as he called them, which were holiday vacation homes, which would give Rebutato some income. That was the idea. And they were to be poised at the top of where the bare rocks are there. That project was abandoned in 1954 when there was a freak storm, which completely washed over the place where the houses would have been, and the project was abandoned. So instead, he built these wooden unités de camping, which you can stay in if you know the right people. And these were built by the carpenter, the Corsican carpenter that Corbusier was very friendly with, and who worked on the Unité d'Habitation at Marseille and other things, as payment to Reputato for the land that Le Corbusier eventually bought from Reputato for his cabinet. So this is the history, and it's these camping units, actually, which overlook the house. There's been a lot of nonsense said about Corbusier kind of possessing the house. After the war, as I say, I think he only visited the house once. That's all the only evidence I've ever had. And after the war, the house was lived in by Badovisi. Le Corbusier held a meeting of urban architects there, though they all stayed in hotels. And that's, as far as I know, the only other time that Corbusier visited the house. In 1949, he restored his own frescoes. Then the house, Eileen Gray's house, passed to a woman, Madame Schelbert, who's a Swiss woman, that Le Corbusier managed to persuade the house mostly to protect his own frescoes. When she died, the house was taken over by somebody else who was eventually murdered in the grounds of the house. By then, he had sold or allowed to disappear most of the interior furniture. And in 1996, the house was vandalized. This is a photograph of mine of 2006. This is the other view with the entrance spine, the épine, as she called it, destroyed or half destroyed. But you notice the painting's all beautifully restored. And one of the reasons that in the ironies of heritage is that the only reason, there were two reasons in the end, why the departmental association, the Littoral, bought the house, the Eileen Gray house, was one, that the paintings by Corbusier had already been listed, and secondly, because Robert Reputato, the son of Thomas Reputato, offered to give his property to the city of Roquebrune only on the condition that the Conseil du Littoral bought the house. So this is why, again, you cannot detach the Eileen Gray house from the rest of the history of the site. So this was the condition in 2006. And this was restored by Pierre-Antoine Gattier, a very good architecte en chef des monuments historiques. But another, in my view, sorry Pierre-Antoine, vandalism occurred because Pierre-Antoine discovered, by scratching the paint, that at some point this polychromatic treatment of the wall of the salon had been carried out. And he faithfully restored it. Now, I think this does almost as much damage to Eileen Gray's aesthetic as Le Corbusier's painting. And as I say, fortunately for the moment, because this film, The Price of Desire, was shot, a lot of it in the house, they covered it over. And we're going to have a little struggle to find out whether the architecte en chef des monuments historiques wins out over good taste in replacing this thing or not. This is his proof that this was the first thing painted. But I mean, it was obvious they did the painting and then they decided it was too strong, and so they painted it over in white or off-white. So we've had this, the Association pour la Sauvegarde of the three sites, the Eileen Gray House, the Étoile de Mer restaurant, and the Unité de Camping and the Cabanon, have decided that if the house is to be presented to the public, it absolutely has to have some reconstruction of the furniture. So 5 of the fixed pieces of furniture have been reconstructed. Plus, with the help actually of the company that made the film, The Price of Desire, a number of pieces of reproduction Eileen Gray material, this carpet, many of the pieces of furniture were bought and installed. Purists are saying that they're all wrong, they're all several centimeters too big or too small or the wrong materials or whatever, but they at least give an idea of Eileen Gray. So this is the chaise non conformiste by Eileen Gray. Here there's a table by Eileen Gray, there's a stool by Eileen Gray, all in their commercially available forms. But there at the end is the piece of furniture that we reconstructed. But the problem, which I think is quite nicely reconstructed, but the problem is that even now, this is the main bedroom. When you look at this, you cannot understand Eileen Gray's organization of the space, because this is how it was originally, with a basin, a mirror. The mirror there's a reproduction mirror which is available, but it can't be put in the right place because Mr. Gattier put a lamp there where it should be. And we are not allowed to touch the walls of the Musée de Architecte en Chef des Monuments Historiques, so we can't put the mirror in the right place. And then we can't put the cupboard, which forms the corner, which creates the little sort of space of the washroom area, because the original is in the Pompidou, and the Musée de France will say that you can reproduce what you like if it doesn't exist anymore, but if it exists, it's a fake. So we can't rebuild this piece of furniture to create the alcove, which is the wash space. I'm going to stop now. This is the guest bedroom with the original cupboard on the right. On the left is the Miroir Satellite, and this is the continuation of the cupboard which we had rebuilt. This is the piece of furniture also in the guest bedroom. So it's a site with many different histories, a site which should be preserved as much as possible with its histories, with its stories, with its memories attached to it. And it's a beautiful place to visit. If you want to find out about it, there's a book which we've published. Unfortunately, this version is out of print, but the pink one in English, it can still be bought. And we're going to do a new edition with possibly a slightly different design. Thank you.